Hello everyone, welcome to Full Moon Movies. Some films feels like they were made from leftover parts of other genres, glued together with raw energy and sheer audacity. Ghost of Mars is one of those films. John Carpenter's 2001 sci-fi horror western hybrid is bold, chaotic and often misunderstood. It dropped during a time where Carpenter was already a legend, but it didn't land with the audiences the way some of his earlier works did. Watching it now, though, there's a strange charm in its wildness, a B-movie spirit in a red Martian dust storm. The story takes place in the year of 2176 on a half-terraformed Mars where Earth's matriarchal society has built a mining outpost. Lieutenant Melanie Ballard, played by Natasha Henstridge, is part of a police unit sent to transfer a prisoner from a remote station. But when they arrive, they find the population has been possessed by ancient Martian spirits, and the people have turned into violent, mutilated shells of themselves. That's where the film flips from procedural to siege, something Carpenter has always done well. Hans Rich plays Ballard with a kind of a steady fatigue, someone competent but already worn down by duty. It's not a flashy performance, but it works because she's not playing a hero. She's a survivor reacting as the chaos builds. Now then there's also Ice Cube as a Desolation Williams, the prisoner who becomes an unlikely ally. His performance is all attitude and age, but he adds a fun layer of unpredictability. You are never quite sure if he is doing the right thing because he wants to or because he knows it's the only way to stay alive. Now their dynamic feels more like two outlaws than cop and criminal, which plays well with the film's western undercurrent. Jason Statham is an early role, plays a Sergeant Jericho Butler. With raw charisma and a bit of sleaze, you can already see hints of the star he's going to become. He's not central to the story, but he brings energy when scenes start to sag. Pam Grier, always a welcome presence, plays the commanding officer, but unfortunately doesn't get much screen time. Still, she brings authority to her short scenes, grounding the earlier parts of the movie before things unravel. Carpenter's direction here is loose and pulpy, and you can feel him leaning into his love for genre mashups. The film blends elements of Assault from Precinct 13, Escape from New York, and The Thing, but it filters through a science fiction setting that doesn't take itself too seriously. You can almost hear Carpenter saying, "What if Rio Bravo but on Mars and with ghosts?" Visually, the film embraces a heavy use of reds and metallic tones, making the Martian landscape feel hostile and claustrophobic. The cinematography often feels gritty and unpolished, but it actually matches the tone of raw and aggressive. The practical effects are fun, and while the possessed miners look like metalhead Mad Max villains, oh gosh, but it was fun. Their wild energy gives the film a kind of kinetic madness. One thing that does stand out is the music. Carpenter, who co-composed the score, fuses industrial rock and heavy metal into the film's DNA. It's loud, rhythmic, and at times overwhelming, but it suits the film's relentless pace. Now there are moments where the music almost takes over, turning action scenes into long head-banging sessions, especially during the final assault scenes. Whether you love it or hate it, it's unmistakably Carpenter. Still, the film has its flaws. The narrative structure is built through multiple flashbacks and character retellings, which can feel repetitive and confusing, but instead of escalating tension, it sometimes stops it cold. And while the setup is strong and the third act doesn't quite deliver a satisfying resolution, now this lack of cohesion is a common critic. Many, in fact, felt the film didn't know if it really wanted to be serious or campy, and it often teeters awkwardly between the two. Now, when it was released, Ghost of Mars didn't do well at the box office. It only earned about 14 million worldwide against a 28 million budget. Reviews were mostly negative, and some even considered it as a career low for Carpenter. In fact, the film's failure led him to step away from directing for nearly a decade. But here's the thing. Over time, it found a cult audience. People began to appreciate its rough edges, its unapologetic tone, and the sheer weirdness of its world. And now, with the Scream Factory 4K release, the film looks even better than ever. The red sands are deeper, the shadows are richer, and the chaos sharper. With Dolby Vision and lossless audio, the score hits harder and the practical effects gets the clarity they deserve. The collector's edition comes with commentary, behind-the-scene features, and interviews that helped to put the film into perspective, including Carpenter's own take on what he was trying to achieve. Now, this is very important. So, does Ghost of Mars still resonate today? Maybe not for everyone, but for fans of bold genre blends of Carpenter's late era grit, or just collectors of underappreciated sci-fi horror, it's a fun, bloody, and bizarre ride. Now, even though it may not be his tightest film, but it got soul and it got style. And to think about it, in a world full of polished, predictable blockbusters, sometimes it's good to revisit a mess that still knows exactly what it is. Now, this movie is a must watch.